Yeah, no. It'll be okay. Is it just look too dark? Can the camera zoom? Yeah. Not that fancy.
No, but I thought it was really quick. But
No.
I did want to listen to the sound in my office anyway.
Yeah.
So like, let me go do that really quick, and I'll have it put on it.
Okay.
Do you mind running the PowerPoint for just a second so I can?
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeremy Medley, principal of Lakeside Middle School. Thank you so much for being here. This is kind of not normally one of our parent nights. I kind of feel odd being up here behind the podium. And I'm usually kind of down and grab the microphone and come down and talk to you during this presentation. However, we're trying something new tonight for us. We're live streaming this event and recording it because we got some feedback from some of our feeder schools that there are some events that got scheduled tonight, so a lot of parents can't make it. So we tried to accommodate that, and so for the first time, we are doing that here. So thank you for your patience with that, and we will come down once at the end, and I'll come around and answer questions and stuff. So if you have questions throughout the presentation, once we've concluded that, keep those, we'll ask those. I know some of the kiddos that were here today, I answered some of their questions. It was a very short answer session, so question and answer session. So if any of the kids have questions as well, feel free to ask those. So we will get started, and I'd like to first just thank you all for being here this evening. All you students getting an A, you've got your homework, first homework assignment done, right? I told them their homework today was to get your parents, get your families here tonight. So thank you for being here, and we appreciate you. This information, as I said, is going to be posted online. It will be the video of this presentation will be posted online, as well as the presentation itself and a recording of that. So, does it sound good, Mr. Phoenix? All right, fantastic. So, as I said, I'm Jeremy Medley, principal at Lakeside Middle School. Do some quick introductions of people in the room, important people. Assistant principal, Ellen Robinson, and her beautiful son, Theodore. We have our counselors, Ms. Stephanie McDowell and Ms. Irvin Speed in the back, give a wave. And our sixth grade team for next year, we have most of them in the room this evening. Ms. Candace Miles, English Language Arts. Mr. Jonathan Hellier, math teacher, not able to be here this evening. Ms. Andrea Queen, math at ELA. Ms. Emily Ganey, science. Ms. Melanie Steffen, social studies. And Ms. Abigail Lyons, science and social studies. And so, welcome to the Panther family this evening. And we're so glad to have you here. So, who's talking next? I can't remember how much I'm doing. I can do all of it. And everyone who's speaking must come to the podium and hit the microphone and do it with me. So,
I got it. It's a race.
Hi, welcome. My name is Thomas. English language arts. All right, so if you see our bell schedule, sixth grade is for the connections first. So we have their first and second connections, first and second one after homeroom, and so that was wonderful announcements and our pledge of allegiance. And then they go to their first core class, which we call third period, and then they'll go to their second core class. During their second core classes, they will also have lunch. Okay, we have lunch. It's about 11 is when it starts, so it's pretty average. And then they just go to third and fourth core after that. All right, fabulous. Grading. We do not have the typical 9 weeks, we do halves semesters. So it's 90 days each. Each half, of course, is 18 weeks put together. The average is you take your first semester average and your second semester average, and then in the years when you get your grades. And it's, of course, equal as a halves. Okay, grade 6 and 7 must pass 4 of 6 courses. At least 3 of these courses must be from the core subject areas of language arts, math, science, and social studies. Okay, there we go. They changed one. Okay, so we're on to courses. Okay, so typical sixth grade, they have advanced sixth grade math, or regular sixth grade math, sixth grade English language and arts, sixth grade science, sixth grade social studies. And the connections, but of course our connections are first. Okay?
So with the sixth grade schedule, as we said, we have students will take, I told the students today, you're going to have 4 classes that everyone is taking: math, science, and social studies. And then they'll have their two connections classes. And some of those, we'll discuss this, and we've got a representative from Connections here this evening to talk more about it. Students will have only the choices in Connections with registration, or whether they want to be in band or chorus, which are two of the full year programs. And so those are really, really important choices, and we'll have people talk more about that this evening. So with the, as Ms. Miles said, with the motion for retention, with math, science, English, and social studies, one of the things I want to talk about specifically for middle school is what math looks like in middle school. And I need to talk about it over 3 years. So just because we're in 5th grade right now, and we are going to 6th grade. And so I'm going to talk about 6th, 7th, and then 8th grade math, and what that is going to look like, because it's a long-term progression of what that's going to be prepared for. How many of you, this is your first middle school student going through middle school in Columbia County? Okay. How many of you have had children go through middle school already? Awesome. Okay. So with math, there is a long path. And you can see this graph up here that's from the district to kind of show all the options. You can see in grade 6 and 7, there's really only 2 options in 6th grade. There is there's regular math, and then there's advanced math. There is no difference in the curriculum between those 2 mathematics courses. There is an opportunity for a bit of enrichment for students that are really, really successful with mathematics, and for our students that are identified as gifted and talented, and those that aren't identified as gifted and talented, there will be places for them within advanced mathematics. But there is no difference in the curriculum in advanced math versus regular math in 6th or 7th grade. Any families in the room that may have had a student go through middle school years ago, there was an accelerated pathway where students got all of 6th grade and half of 7th grade combined in a year. And then they would get half of 7th grade and all of 8th grade during their 7th grade year. And then they would go to high school math in their 8th grade year. The plan for Lakeside Middle School, as well as every middle school in the district, is to have the majority, if not every single child, exposed to Algebra 1 content before leaving middle school. And so by the time students get to 8th grade, it's the goal that for the majority or all of our students to have that exposure while they have more support in middle school to make their high school start more successful. And so what you'll see in this pathway is when you get to grade 8, you see that blue and you see that red. So you got 6th grade math, 7th grade math, 8th grade math. But what the state of Georgia did for 8th grade math is they actually combined the standards for 8th grade math with Algebra 1 to create a brand new course, which is we've been teaching it for 3 years now, I think. And so we've had some exposure to it, and we're getting better at doing it. So we've got more kids. Right now, Lakeside Middle School, out of all of our students, almost like 80% of them are taking our high school algebra right now. It's probably higher than that. It's a really large number, and our goal is to increase that next year. It's going to be about 90% of our students, and so we keep increasing that. And so as a parent, what does that mean? And I'm going to tell you this today because you're here and you're listening to me, but you probably won't remember what I'm going to say in 2 years when it gets to that time, because right now you're looking at about 6th grade. But our goal is we've embedded some things in 6th grade and 7th grade for the next couple of years to help ease that transition and to ensure that every student has that exposure. I used to be registrar for one of our high schools in Columbia County. I was the assistant principal who was in charge of the scheduling for every child at a 2,000 plus student school. And so one of the things that anytime a student failed a class in high school, they had to retake the core classes that were required for graduation. Algebra 1 is the first math, typically for students that they have to pass. And so you can't graduate without it. And did it die? Oh, did it? It's better? Oh, thank goodness, because it was ringing in my ear. I'm not going to lie. I'm standing up here, I'm like listening to myself, and it's killing me. Oh, that does feel so much better. Sorry for people who are watching from home or in the live stream or whatever, but okay, there's some relief there. With 8th grade math, with that algebra, more students as freshmen fail that course. And it end up having to repeat it and going to summer school. And their first exposure to high school math is unfortunately can be a statistically rough transition. And so our goal at Lakeside Middle School is for our students to have that exposure, to be exposed to that curriculum, to engage with it for a year. And guess what? When they go to high school, they can take it again. It's not going to count towards their high school transcript. And so they can still start Algebra 1 right off the bat when they're a freshman, but they've already had it for a year. And we have methods that we work on. Since it has 8th grade math credit in the background, we're looking at things to be able to say, hey, how are the kids doing in 8th grade math to determine promotion and retention? The whole goal is that students should be exposed to that curriculum, if at all possible. And so it is a really, really great thing. It's a tough thing for kids. One of our teachers that's coming to 6th grade just is one of our 8th grade teachers who's teaching enhanced algebra right now. And it is tough for our kids to have that exposure, but it is worthwhile. The struggle is real for kids because they're like, oh my gosh. But it's better to give them that exposure and support while they're in middle school and us persevere to make that high school start when it counts the most, give them the best chance possible to be passing, and because it's typically math that always keeps a student from graduating or graduating on time. And so it's one of those things that we really, really push for the right reasons and try and make sure the students are supported through that. So enough about boring math. Connections. This is Coach Kay Rowland, our athletic director at Lakeside Middle School. Please welcome her to the podium.
All right, so connections as 6th graders. 6th graders will have the option of taking band or chorus. Band and chorus are year-long programs. And I'm gonna have Ms. LeDunn come up and speak. Ms. Davis, are you gonna speak on chorus? Okay. So you'll get to meet them and sign up for those if you choose to take those. If you take those all year, you'll only have an opening for one class of connections because you have 2 periods. So one period would be band or chorus if you sign up for that. And the other one, you'll have half of the year of PE, 2 9 weeks of PE, and then you'll have the option of general music, robotics, technology, theater arts, and Spanish. Ms. Rugi will be joining back to our group with Reading Connections, and those students will also be with her for most, if not all, of the year. So we have a wonderful group of Connections teachers. We want to try to get all of the students through everything so they get exposure to many different types of subjects, and it does happen to be some of their favorite times of the day. And so they get to start the day off very well in happy band, chorus, PE, robotics, technology, and Spanish, okay? And then they go into their core subjects. Team? Oh, that's right, Ms. LeDunn. She's gonna come speak about her band program. It's a wonderful program. We got to hear them earlier today. She had 6th, 7th, and 8th grade perform together, and there was about 145 students in the whole school in that program. That's over a quarter of our students in that program. So if you will welcome Ms. Olivia LeDunn.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here, first of all. I just want to kind of give you a little spiel about what band is. I'm sure most of you are familiar. So in band, it's a class where students have the opportunity to learn either a brass, a woodwind, or a percussion instrument. So in 6th grade, how it starts off, I usually start them on 4 instruments. So they have the option of either flute, clarinet, trumpet, or trombone. Then in the 2nd semester, they get the opportunity to switch to a more specialized instrument. Now, the big thing with 6th grade is that beginning band curriculum is only offered in 6th grade. So that means if your student doesn't join in 6th grade and they want to join in 7th grade, then they're going to be an entire year behind. It's still an option to join in 7th and 8th grade, but they have to usually work 2 or 3 times as hard to catch up. And a lot of time, every single year, a kid is like, oh, I just wish I would have started sooner in 6th grade. So even if you have like littlest inkling in your heart that you would like to join band, now is the time. And I hate it, but yes, you're allowed to drop it. It's not for you, so that's always the option. And a lot of students usually think, I need to already know how to read music, I need to know how to do such and such. You don't. I teach you everything from scratch. I'll teach you how to read notes, rhythms, how to hold an instrument, how to take care of the instrument, all of it. And in order to just be kind of transparent about the financials of it, usually I do ask parents to rent the instruments, but financial hardships, I understand happen, so I'm always willing to accommodate. So if you're thinking that the financials of it are what may hold you back, I'm always open to communicate, and I will work it out with you, because I want it to be accessible to as many students as possible. Otherwise, we usually do 4 concerts, we do field trips. I took the kids to Carolyn, took Miss Davis last month, we go travel and perform. And the other last misconception I'll talk about is that a lot of times people think, I can't do band and a sport, or I can't do band and art club. Kids do all those things. And most of the time, the kids in band are those top students who excel and do multiple activities. So if you're thinking ahead for your child's future, this is probably the class that you really want to consider enrolling them in. But if you have any questions, I'm going to stay after, and you have a postcard with some information. There is a QR code to the band website where you can find out a ton more. But please feel free, I'll be standing in the back to ask me anything. I'll be totally open. So thank you. Next is Miss Davis.
Hello and good evening. So yes, I'm Miss Davis. One thing about me is I love to sing, and I love to teach kids who love singing. And so all you need for chorus is your voice and the willingness to get out your comfort zone, have fun, and learn. So one thing about my class, unlike an extracurricular chorus program or chorus club, we actually have standards that we follow to make sure that students are truly not only learning how to sing songs, but singing that is vocally healthy, and that make sure that they're level to read the music at a high quality, as well as knowing the history and the cultural components of music too. So yes, just like Ms. LaDunn, we also go to field trips where we get to perform in front of judges that also rate us on how well we are meeting those standards. And we also get to sing in front of you guys, just like for those who are there today, we got to. So yeah, I just have to say, if you have a student or anyone that you know would love to be a part of this, they do not have to be the next Mariah Carey or Beyonce. I'm super happy to accept anyone who just wants to be a part of something community. One thing about singing in the choir is that it can feel a little vulnerable because you have nothing to hide behind. But what I love to do is just to create a community where we're singing and it's a safe space where no one's getting judged on their voice. So yeah, if that's something you are part of, I welcome you, and then I'll be here to answer any questions you may have. Thank you, y'all.
So with the Connections program, like just to reinforce and reiterate, I told the kids today that when you go to register, the biggest choices that you have as parents and students to talk about is really whether you want to be in band or chorus. Again, they're 2 full-year programs. You cannot do both of them at the same time. You have to choose one or the other. And then students, as Ms. Coach Rowland said, students will have 2 9 weeks of PE, and then you have the other programs, art, robotics, technology, theater arts, Spanish. Those are the 9 weeks classes that students rotate through. They don't get a choice in those, and we end up rotating through those throughout the year and balance those classes out. So talking about grading in general, moving on to teaming. Teaming in 6th grade, you may have heard the team model. If you go to any of our middle schools across the district, you'll hear probably teams being used. And teams are typically a team of 4 teachers that teach all of the same students. Lakeside Middle School is very small. As you can see in this room, we had about 160 kids come to us this morning, and we totaled about 450 for next year. That's the projection. A lot of our schools are double that or more, over 1,000. A lot of our parents consider us blessed to be small. And we do, there are challenges with being small, but in a space such as ours, with our community. A lot of positive feedback comes to the fact that we are a small community and a small school. So when we see this slide about teaming, we only have 6 teachers in the whole grade level. 6 teachers in 6th grade, 6 teachers in 7th grade, and 6 teachers in 8th grade. So they're a whole team that works with all of those kids. And so as a teacher, typically, even at the high school level, middle school, you teach pretty much no more than 150 kids. Well, we have about 150 kids in the whole grade level. And so we get to know all of them very, very well. And it's a really, really good atmosphere. And so we have those 6 teachers work very, very closely together in teaming to get that done. Next up will be a 6th grade extracurricular activities. And we've got Miss Emily Gainey, who is the leader of our prestigious Beta Club, our award-winning Beta Club.
Good evening. So a lot of our students are able to participate in quite a few academic and extracurricular activities. One of them being our Beta Club. We have right now 150 students that are in Beta Club. We go to conventions, to our state convention, our national convention. Students are able to take things they're interested in, like robotics, engineering, and compete in those, artwork as well. We also have our academic bowl that students can join, art club, we have Bible club that meets in the mornings, our Sager Patriots usually meets a couple of times a week. Then we have drama club that is led by Miss Davis. We also have our FCA, and coming back this year is our Harry Potter club for our students.
Oh, Ms. Gainey, what are the 6th graders able to join Beta Club?
Thank you. I always forget that one. Our 6th grade students will be able to join Beta Club in January. We like to have our students come in, get kind of acclimated to middle school, and be able to maintain that 90 average through their first semester. And then in January, we'll induct into Beta Club.
So a few things about the clubs. Just as principal, I have to shout out and tell great things. So again, our Beta Club is an award-winning organization and has gone to state and national competitions. And it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience for our kids to get to travel and do that. Our academic bowl, led by Coach Hunter, right back there. Our academic bowl just recently went to state competition in Milledgeville at Georgia College of State University. I got to go travel with them and watch them compete with a lot of major schools. It was an amazing experience. The first time we ever went to state. And going to state means that we were the top 2 schools in our district so we beat out. We're small, but we're mighty. And our kids can do amazing things. And so I just want to highlight some of those things. Beta Club already said, Bible Club has become a very popular thing. Our students come in at 7 o'clock one day a week, and that is all, anyone voluntarily wanting to join that. Cyber Patriots. Any of our students know what Cyber Patriots is? It's basically a hacking thing. We work with the military. And so we have people coming in from Fort Gordon, and we have military personnel come in and work with our kids, and they work on coding and hacking systems from a cybersecurity standpoint and compete with students across the state digitally within our building. And we have done really great things with that. And we've won some awards, and if you were kids walking around the building today, we have a banner outside our Cyber Patriot teachers classroom where we've done amazing things. Drama Club is something that we had a theater performance, or we're hoping to bring back. Miss Davis, we're hoping to bring back a performance next year, do a musical in the spring. So that's our plan. We've already bought the rights. We'll spend that money well, okay? Money's already been spent, let's do it. And then FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, is a separate organization focused on fellowship of Christians in an athletic manner. And so the kids get together in the same way, and they work together, and they've gone on to do great things as well. So, and the Harry Potter Club has been one of the most popular things. It was so popular a year ago We took a break for a year, and then we're bringing it back because that new Harry Potter series on HBO, I guess. I saw the trailer, looked amazing. And so, very excited about that, and there's a lot of great things. The kids love it, and if the kids, did you see all the Harry Potter stuff in our media center today? Kids, yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a little bit like walking into the one of the common rooms in some way in Harry Potter. So it's amazing stuff. And I think there's, pictures of club photos that we have up there, kids doing cybersecurity, and our beta club induction, which is always a wonderful night. Next up, and a very important thing, sports. Coach Rowland. Mr. Mellon's a nerd. He'll do all the nerdy stuff.
I'll handle all the athletic stuff. All right, so 6th grade, awesome. We offer lots and lots of sports. We get to compete against the other middle schools inside the county. First up, I want to mention and highlight, on Monday, we have a cheer clinic for tryouts. If you are interested in trying out for cheer, Ms. Hayward, our cheer coach, is here. Please make sure you see her tonight so that you can get all the documents done for cheer. And then Wednesday and Thursday will be cheer tryouts. So if you're interested in cheer, please see her, because as an athlete, a student, if you want to try out for any sport, you must have a completed physical packet uploaded into Dragonfly before you can try out. In the physical packet, you'll fill out part of it, and then you have to take it to a physician, the doctor, to fill out part of it. If you can't get in with your regular physician, the walk-in clinics, urgent care, prompt care, urgent kids, you can walk in there, pay for a visit physical. It's $25 to $50 depending on where you go. And then the doctor will check you out, sign off on the paperwork, and then you upload all of those documents into Dragonfly Max, which is an online program that we use. Once you set up your account, it does take about 20 minutes to set it up. It's set up. All you have to do is upload and renew paperwork every year. When your student crosses the street to go to the high school also uses the same program. So you'll be very familiar with it. They use the same documents, and it just assists in the ease of the transition to high school. The first 2 days of school are softball tryouts. Tennis tryouts will be in the middle of September. Basketball tryouts are at the beginning of October. Baseball, soccer, and track start in January, so if you're interested in those, you have plenty of time to get the paperwork done. I know the question's going to come about football. I always get it. 6th graders are not allowed to try out for football. It's primarily for a safety reason. Because I don't know if you've seen some of these other 8th graders running around the county, but they can be quite huge. So we are trying to protect our 6th graders. 6th graders are allowed to try out for everything except football. After spring break, during their 6th grade year, about this time next year, our football coaches will be preparing for spring training. They will be allowed to participate in that in preparation for tryouts for the following year. Tonight, over on the table over there, I'll go stand by it after the presentation. I do have a welcome for athletics if you're interested. I have the physical packet here, so if you need that to take to get ready for cheer, or you want to go ahead and get the paperwork done, you can do that. And then I have the interest letter for softball as well for anybody who might be interested. The great thing about our sports programs here is a lot of our kids come to us with zero experience playing that sport. And we have some phenomenal coaches who can take inexperienced students and get them to that high achieving level as far as athletic performances go. And they make it a wonderful experience. If you have any questions about athletics, please feel free to reach out to me, shoot me an email. Honestly, that's the quickest way to reach me. I will answer back, and I will help you in any way I can to make this a wonderful experience for you at Lakeside Middle. Thank you. let me hit this. I did talk about it earlier today. Academic eligibility. Grades are very, very, very important. When students in August are promoted to us, they will be eligible for all of our fall sports. That's cheer, softball, tennis, and basketball. In January, we switch semesters, and academic eligibility is based upon passing 5 out of 6 classes. They take 6 classes a day. They have to pass 5 out of 6 to be academically eligible for baseball, soccer, and track. When they finish their 6th grade year and get ready to go to 7th, eligibility again is based on being promoted to the next grade level. That's a very important component. So I need your help in supporting our kids and impressing upon our students that grades are very important from day one. And so if they stay on top of it, if they fall behind, please reach out to teachers to get some assistance. That way they stay academically eligible and don't miss out on a wonderful opportunity because of grades. Okay. Thank you.
This is Miss Nikki Presley, our instructional specialist at Lakeside Middle School and also our PBIS coordinator.
Hey, everybody. All right, so you're probably familiar with PBIS. Your chances are in a PBIS school right now. PBIS stands for Positive Behavior Intervention and Supports. It is evidence-based, it's data-driven. The purpose of PBIS is to, 1, reduce disciplinary incidents, 2, increase school safety, and to support academic outcomes. With PBIS, we have school-wide expectations that we teach. Mr. Medlin talks about the expectations on the announcements every morning. As you can see, we have posters all around the school that talk about our expectations and what it looks like to be respectful, responsible, and ready in all areas. There is an acknowledgement system. We'll talk about that in just a second. Positive feedback. And then as a team, we get together and we look at data to determine, all right, is this an area that we need to maybe work on? Maybe we're having some trouble in the hallway, that type of thing. At Lakeside, we are respectful, responsible, and ready. So your students will be hearing that all the time. So when we talk about PBIS and we talk about the acknowledgement system, with acknowledgement, we want kids to know that when you are coming in and doing what you're supposed to do, we're going to reward you for that. So we have something called PBIS rewards. At your school currently, you probably have some type of token economy, whether it is bucks or coins, something that a student will receive for meeting the expectations. Well, we have a digital system. So in ClassLink, they have something called PBIS rewards, and everything is completely digital. So when they receive a point for being respectful, responsible, or ready, it automatically uploads into this platform. And it thanks, kind of like their own little wallet, their digital wallet. And so they start accumulating points as they are continuing to follow the expectations. And then those points can be used throughout the year. Teachers have their own classroom stores, and we also have a school-wide store. We have been able to partner with Office Depot, and they have provided many, many treats and super awesome prizes for our kiddos. And so we have times throughout the year that kids can come and shop. They can either come to me and shop, or kind of like Amazon, we have a digital system where they can go in and they can choose the items that they want, and then we deliver it to them. So a lot of great ways. Just continue to talk about being respectful, responsible, and ready at home as well.
All right. And our assistant principal, I would hold you, Theodore, but you probably get upset. So you gonna go talk?
All right, good evening, everyone. Again, my name is Ellen Robinson. I'm currently now the only assistant principal, but we will have 2 for next year. One thing I want to give a disclaimer to is that I love the fact that we are a PBIS school, because a lot of the position and posture that we try to do is to prevent, right? Prevent kids from coming to see me. That is the whole point of being a PBIS school. But definitely, especially for my sixth grader parents, I think it's important to know that building a relationship with your students and kind of going over the code of conduct in advance, going to Columbia County School District code of conduct to see how middle school and high school does behavior is very important. I'm sorry, especially due to, I gotta come to the podium so I can see this. So I think it's important because elementary does not necessarily have a standard code of conduct, and so it could be a little bit disturbing when parents are, let's say, for instance, a student makes a small mistake. Some of those things are going to be a little bit different in how we respond to those things than how it was in elementary. And so, as far as attendance, tardy policy, we try to make sure that we are communicating from a classroom tier 1 level. So our data secretary is very good at touching bases with those parents and trying to get those parent notes in, medical excuses in, so that way we're not showing a true truancy issue, because academics is typically affected when students are not at school each and every day. And then sometimes that can lead to behavior issues when students feel overwhelmed because they can't get caught up, whether that's medical reasons or whatever family emergency. Sometimes that can be a lot of unnecessary pressure that is put on students as to why that could be an uptick of behavior. Next, classroom disruptions. Oftentimes we see, if I'm just being transparent, we see more of that with sixth graders because of some of the elementary school transitions of just trying to develop appropriately into middle school. A lot of times there's this, this testing of the waters that elementary schools kids come into sixth grade with. So sixth grade teachers definitely have the biggest charge to task, which is kind of get kids acclimated to middle school and to be patient with them and to teach them how to learn, how to get along with others, and how to manage sixth teachers and all the different personalities of teachers. And so we try to be very gracious with sixth grade students and meet them where they are, but also make sure that they understand their choices prior to making them the second time around, and make sure we're going from a teaching perspective of behavior management versus a disciplinary style. So we try to do more teaching through our behavior management versus just straight on consequences. Dress code. Dress code is one of those things that, again, we try to make sure that we have enough to support and give an understanding. We will try to, be lenient as far as if there are students that are typically just having to be difficulty with dress code, but we do try to have a conversation. The main thing is we just don't want to expose them, right? We want to make sure that they are not taken away from the learning environment, but we don't necessarily want to major in a minor. So parents, if you could do us a favor, try to check your ring cam, try to check certain things before your children leave home, right? And kids love to have extra clothes in their book bag, especially in middle school, but definitely we just want to make sure that students are not, they're dressing the way they want to be addressed, as well as they are being appropriate and not distracted to the learning environment. So, and then the last thing is non-compliance. This is my favorite thing to unpack. A lot of people, and I mean students and teachers, often struggle. They don't know the difference between non-compliance versus willful refusal, right? So non-compliance is often, the best way I explain it is sometimes the student does not know the expectations clearly. And so they're just not simply meeting the expectations. And so that could be a form of non-compliance, where if you're telling a student like, hey, I want you to stay up, you're sleeping, right? And then the student goes back to sleep. Sometimes they're not being defiant, but they're just not complying with what you're requesting. Willful refusal is when they make eye contact with you, roll their eyes, and then go back to sleep, right? That's the difference, is where they are understanding their choices and still choosing to do the undesired behavior. So really, we see a lot of those behaviors consistently in middle school level. Middle school, I love middle school because this is really where we connect students from being children to young adults. There's a wide range of behavior between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. So you're looking at a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, and then all of a sudden they're 14, right? That's a huge age gap. And our job is to make sure that we're closing gaps academically, that we're helping kids to grow, and have a soft and safe place to make mistakes without it being so punitive. I think that's the biggest thing I want parents to understand about our leadership here at Lakeside, is that we're always going to choose the route to teach kids before we choose the route to punish kids. My principal drills this down on every staff, but especially me. He always tells teachers and staff, I'm not going to hire you, or I don't want a person working for me if you can't see the potential over the problems. I want you to see the problem and the possibility of students versus the problems that students may bring. And so I try to take that seriously each and every day. and practice patience with my students to make sure that they understand that no matter what mistakes you make, I'm gonna always give you the opportunity to explain yourself. I'm gonna try to always understand you and meet you where you are, but also still hold you accountable appropriately for what you've actually done. And so with that being said, parents, if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. Please do not hesitate to reach out, and don't, be, hesitant to read the code of conduct in advance. But other than that, thank you for your time.
One thing that is not up there, that used to probably be up there in the past, and usually students have asked me about it when they come to visit, is just about cell phones. But it really isn't a problem anymore, as all parents should know. With the new state law, it hasn't been a problem at Lakeside Middle School for years. As principal, I put in a rule that cell phones and electronic devices are to be inside book bags, and the book bags are with them all day long. We don't put them in cubbies, we don't put them anywhere. They're with their kids all day long, but they're deep inside their book bag, and their book bag is with them all day. So we don't really have an issue with cell phone use. It should never be out according to the law. If a student needs to contact you, they must come to the office per the law to make sure that they can call you. And then if you need to get in touch with your kid, you call the school and we will get your kid up to the office to take a phone call from you. That's a need, and we have students do that every single day. So with the next slide is the Columbia Virtual Academy. And if you're familiar with CVA, the Columbia Virtual Academy, it is an online environment. They do take registrations for that. That can be part full-time or part-time. And we do have students that sometimes take classes at CVA as an option, and then also attend Lakeside Middle School. So if you want more information about CVA, I really encourage that you look to their website and look at their registration and get in their books to try and get a seat at CVA, because it is fairly limited based upon their staffing. And parent involvement, I'm going to have Miss Nicole Ruge come on up. Miss Nicole Ruge will be our Read 180 teacher next year, but she's also serving as our student support coordinator this year.
Parent involvement, this is what I like to say, parents, this is the time your kids want you to back out. Let them be adults. This is the time we need to jump in. And we need to jump in with them. There's a lot of things that are going to happen. There are going to be a lot of places, a lot of moving parts, and we want you to know what's going on. So on the screen, you can see a lot of different ways that you can communicate with the school. For me, the best places to go are social media and Mr. Medlin's weekly email that he sends. You're going to get a lot of great information that way. The teachers will start using Parent Square as a reminder next year, but we'll go in more of that next school year. Parent Portal. If you've not checked your students' grades using Parent Portal up to this point, we really, really, really need you to have that account and be checking it. Be on their grades, looking at that program. That's where you're going to get the most notice on what's happening grade-wise for your students. With that, real quick, we'll tell you again in the fall, but your core classes will be in their semesters. It looks different, but if you have questions, any of us can help you answer those in the fall. PTO, Parent Teacher Organization, we would love for you to join. We're not as involved in maybe as the elementary school, so we're not going to ask for a lot of things, but we do want parents to join in. We ask parents to volunteer for things like the JA field trip, school dances, the chorus trip, the band trip, so we have parents volunteer that way. If you have any questions, please reach out to us soon.
With the communication piece at Lakeside Middle School, this year we did, Mrs. Ruby has been helping me with communication and sending out the newsletter. We did kind of move to kind of a bi-monthly process because we ended up having it more packed. The weekly email kind of became a little bit redundant. A lot of stuff, we got repeated week by week. We're probably going to go back to that in some way. We do have to make some adjustments. how many of you have all received, you should have all received the Parent Square stuff. Parent Square, if you're not aware, bought Remind as a company. So Remind is going away. And so the district, at the end of this school year, we will no longer have access to Remind, be able to use, so we'll be transitioning to Parent Square completely as a method of communication. As a parent, unless you're one of the pilot schools that's already been doing it, one of the things that I'm gonna tell you as principal, I do not like the idea of parents getting constant notifications on their phones from parents. And so one of the things that we do at Lakeside Middle School is this year, every Friday at 4 o'clock, a Remind was sent out with a PowerPoint slide that has the weekly agenda for the next week. So it has every day of the week, all 4 of the core subject areas, and it tells you what's going on, what content's being covered, and if there are any tests or quizzes, assessments that the kids need to be worried about and need to be on your radar. That was sent every Friday at 4 o'clock. That gave parents a one-stop shop place to look at that, so that you didn't have to receive 6 different messages multiple times a week, maybe from different teachers. And trying to, I don't know how people feel about that. Me, it gives me great anxiety if my phone starts going off a lot. But at the end of the day, with Parent Square though, it may look a little bit different as we transition. Within the settings for Parent Square, we'll try and put out some information. Mrs. James, my media specialist, is coordinating that for us as we move into the next school year. We're learning about it as well. You have an option as a parent to have everything come to you immediately, or as a digest. It'll collect all the messages, all the information into one thing and be delivered to you once. So you can control some of those things with Parent Square, and there's a lot of great features with it. We're learning more as the district has turned it on. We won't be using it quite as much for the rest of the school year because we're still figuring it out, but we will implement it fully next year. And so some of this communication stuff we will update as we learn more and move forward with it.
So if you would like to volunteer and you want to just get involved starting now, if you would scan the QR code, it's just going to ask you 3 questions like, yes, I want to get involved, please contact me, and then how you would like to be involved.
Yeah, she mentioned school dances. And so students love the dances at school, whether we're in, they have them in the gym. So typically we would go back to, we're going to try and go back to having a DJ for dances. And we have them multiple times throughout the year. And they're after school parents. So they start immediately after school and they end at 5 o'clock. That way kids aren't having to go home and come back. They basically, the day ends, dance happens, picked up at 5 o'clock. And so this is a lot more convenient for parents and convenient for staff to be able to transition to that, and we will do that next year. So the final couple things to mention is on your sheets, I believe there's a registration link. This registration link was on the forms given to the kids today. There should be a QR code up here on the screen, as well as it'll be on the website as well. This is your registration link for you to look at what options you have. And there's some information in there. You want band? Click band. I want band for next year. I want chorus. And I think there's also a space in there for you to tell us any information that you want to share about your child with us, about any specific scheduling needs, or all those things. The elementary schools have given us all the information that we need about your child as far as scores and data, whether students have 504, IEPs, those types of things. But feel free to share anything during the registration form to help our counselors and us learn more about your student before we start middle school next year. A Couple of important dates at the end. Open house is on Thursday, July 30th from 3 to 5 p.m. And so student schedules will be available that evening. They'll go live in Parent Portal first, so they'll be live. I'm not sure exactly what day they will go live. It could be that day that they will go live, so you'll be able to see them digitally as well. But printed out schedules will be available at open house. We also have, did we add that to the slide? The I thought we did. Help me remember, Miss Ruby, is she in the room? There's a summer camp. The summer camp for 6th graders is July 23rd, I want to say. Let me go to my calendar for July. Yes, July 23rd, there will be a summer camp. And so what we're going to do, that summer camp will start at 6 o'clock, same time. And some of the schools will do their camps in the morning and it's kids only. We do another informational session. So you bring your kids in and the kids are going to work with the teachers and have some fun activities and help them acclimate to middle school in the gym. And then we're going to have a meeting in here to kind of reinforce some things, answer questions, and make sure that there's any new updates for the school year that aren't provided today. So our camp is going to be at 6 o'clock on July 23rd here at Lakeside Middle School. It is optional. But we want kids and parents to be able to attend. We want to make the transition to middle school as smooth as possible. So, all right, well, we're going to end the live stream at this time, and then I'm going to go around and I'm going to come down and get off this podium because Mr. Alvarez.